So when you're in a trading situation, it's all new. You've just got funded. It's all new, right? So your dopamine levels are through the roof to take action. The challenge with this is, right, dopamine also makes you laser beam in. So it's like a horse with blinkers on the side of its eyes. It can only see what's in front of you. So if you're like this, your dopamine is really high, you just want to press go on the button, right? Then the challenge becomes, are you making a professional, logical decision? Or are you in those moments, like we spoke about in episode 1, really making an emotional or reactionary response, right? Understand that. So simple technique. It's called...
Okay, here we are on Trading Nut. This is the second in a 10-part series with Andy Murphy here, who's breaking it down for you in terms of how do you keep a funded account as a trader, or how do you pass that funding challenge and get your mindset on point. So the first episode was brilliant. We go back and check it out. We'll put a link to everything underneath this video if you want, and go and check it out. It was all about the gambler versus the trader, and there's a great little tip in there. Now, this episode is all around how you break that dopamine loop. So welcome back to the show, Andy.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited about these because we've got a lot of information going on. And like we said in part 1, I just feel that more than ever in the world right now with the economy, this is necessary for you. It's necessary to take charge and control of your trading. It can't be a game. This can be an income stream. This can be your lifestyle, right? But you have to get it right. So that's what me and Cam are here to do.
Brilliant. So let's dive into that. So like we talked about being a gambler versus a trader, and how do you overcome that, slipping into that gambling mode? What about this dopamine? So when somebody gets that funded account, they're going to be super pumped. They're going, great, I've passed that challenge, or I've just bought that challenge and I want to obviously pass it or get funded and get paid out, get that first payout. How do they sort of counteract the dopamine that's coming with that? And even, every time they hop in front of the charts, they got a chance to better themselves and have that success.
Well, dopamine's an interesting thing. And so many of our decisions, probably most of our decisions, come from dopamine. But let me explain what dopamine is, because there's been a radical shift in understanding in neuroscience, actually, what dopamine is. Before, it was called the reward chemical in the brain, right? So it's something that dopamine will get flooded in our neurology, our brain, when we achieve something. You know, now that's not true. What dopamine is the motivation chemical. So let me explain what this is. Right. Most people don't understand that.
Now, if you're loving the show and thinking, where can I go and trade? Why don't you check out my prop firm sponsor, Blue Guardian. Now, these guys have been around for ages. They've been sponsoring Trading Up for over a year. And some of the key features that make them so good is that they've got realistic profit targets for their challenge phases. It's only 8 or 4%. They also have a scaling plan up to $2 million, and they do profit splits of 85%, which is really high for this industry. They also have quick and reliable payouts and a robust reserve that make sure those payouts are as seamless and smooth as possible. Now, if you're looking to join, go and check them out. But first, grab my coupon code TradingNut, all one word. You're going to save yourself 25% off at checkout. There's a link in the description. Go and click that now. Right, let's get back on with the show.
The motivation chemical, or movement, or taking action, right, is dopamine. So when we run a new trading account, where do you think your dopamine levels probably are? Right? Because dopamine is produced through novelty. It's produced when things are new, right? This can also link to 2 different paths. Dopamine doesn't just have to happen from good things. It can also happen from bad things. These can be good behaviors, bad behaviors, right? Why do you think, we go back to the gambling thing, but why do you think a casino has all these flashing lights and shiny things and keeps you in there? Does the casino want the best for you? No, the casino wants to make money, your money, right? So when we understand that novelty creates dopamine. Dopamine is the motivation or action brain chemical. What do you think I'm going with this, right? So when you're in a trading situation, it's all new. You've just got funded. It's all new, right? So your dopamine levels are through the roof to take action. The challenge with this is, right, dopamine also makes you laser beam in. So it's like a horse with blinkers on the side of its eyes. It can only see what's in front of you. So if we'll talk about this more later, being in states and all these different things. But understand, if you're like this, your dopamine's really high. You just want to press go on the button, right? Pop, 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 pop. Then the challenge becomes, are you making a professional, logical decision? Or are you in those moments, like we spoke about in episode 1, really making an emotional or reactionary response, right? Understand that. So simple technique. It's called future pacing. Plain and simple. What does future pacing mean? Well, we go from here to here. We suddenly get something called expanded awareness, okay? So a simple technique, again, we're using our prefrontal cortex with the decision-making strategies, using our internal dialogue. Watch episode 1, internal dialogue. And we have to, in those moments, expand. So what that means is that we have to future pace. So the question I want you to ask yourself, if I make this trade, what's the likely thing that's going to happen? So let's stretch this out. What's the image of me looking back at the end of the day, or whatever you're trading at the end of the day, and looking back on now? What's the likelihood that this trade is going to be the right one? And what's the likelihood that I'm going to get the results that I want? Okay.
Folks, if you're loving this content with Andy and you can't wait till next week's episode, then go and check out the free webinar that I did with him a while back. It's called Discover the Number One Brain Mistake Stopping You from Being a Millionaire Trader. It's full of nuggets. You're going to love it. There's a link below this video to the Genius Trader Club. Go and check it out. It's got that webinar on there. All you need to do is put your email address in and you're away. All right, let's get back on with it.
Future pacing. Guess what we've just suddenly done? We've taken the blinkers off. We've opened it up. We've engaged our logic brain, and at the moment, we're able to make a different decision. Instead of getting instant gratification that the dopamine is wanting you to click, instead of getting that instant gratification, like we're on social media trying to get likes, right? That gives us a dopamine loop, a dopamine feedback. What we want is the dopamine loop to be small steps, meaning I sit down at my desk, I put myself into state, I do steps 1, 2, and 3, I do the checking of the trades. Now I'm in the right state. Dopamine loop, dopamine loop, dopamine loop. Okay, I've set it up the correct way, dopamine loop. And then if stretching it out, if I get the result that I want, then that's going to make me feel good and going to make me want to trade more and more and more, right? That's the way dopamine loops should be structured and set up. This is the same with long-term goals, short-term goals, what you're doing for breakfast, all of these things we should be enjoying and looping and motivated to drive our life forward, not letting the casino, which is funded accounts, take over and use these things against you. That's what they're doing. So when you understand that and you become a professional, right? A professional only makes trades when they know it's the right thing to do. When they understand that, then you're not gambling anymore. You're not giving into your dopamine loops. You're not letting the casino win. You are taking control. Does that make sense, Cam?
That makes sense. And look, it makes so much sense. Like so often do I either start a funded account or even start a new kind of trading approach. And I know that I just struggle with that the very first few days, because it's like, oh, I've just found this like new strategy that's going to work amazingly, and I struggle to execute it. I'm actually getting better at it. I will be honest, I'm getting better at it, but I used to just really struggle to execute it. Or, you know, if you get into a funded account, you might do something stupid. And I kind of don't do this stuff now, but I used to do it, where you'd risk too much, or you'd take the trade that wasn't there and it was just kind of half set up. And you're like, well, I just want to have a trade on the books here. And if I can get that, 1, 2, 3% on that account, I'm halfway there already. It's day one. Don't work. It never works. It's never worked for me, and it probably hasn't worked for you either. So, Andy, fantastic stuff.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
What's the best way for traders to find out more?
Sure, head over to andymurphy.online. You can connect with me there, or you can head over to thegeniustrader.club and take a look at that too.
All right, folks, what we'll do is we'll hook that up under the show. Now, we've got more in this series, so please subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell, click all, so you don't miss episodes 3 through 10, and go back and check out the first one we did as well. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.